This is the Simpit. I'm your host, Sean Cole, and welcome to today's edition of the Pitstop, where you, the pit crew, are the real star of today's show. And I am going to get exactly to that point later in the show. And we have a lot to talk about today, so sit back, buckle in, grab your cup of coffee, go to the bathroom real quick if you need to, because I have a lot of things to talk about today, which is sort of a contrast to yesterday's show. Anyway, thank you all for being here, and it's great to be back in the seat again. Again, I still feel like I'm catching up on things from my vacation, but excited to be here and excited to talk about what's going on in sim racing. So let's get right to it. If there's anything you guys want to talk about, of course, let me know in the chat. I'm looking at the chat, trying to stay up with you guys. And of course, we're here just to talk amongst our friends about sim racing. So first up, this is just a quick one, and I think I'm having an argument or a debate with myself, and I don't know if anybody else is even involved in it, but we've talked about the 959 Porsche Legends pack in P-Cars. Anyway, in this, they say the car was banned in the U.S. until 2001. This barely legal Group B-inspired car from the 80s. Anyway, so I think that sort of is exactly what I remember. I actually owned this as the Rothmans rally car as an RC, and it was one of my all-time favorite RC cars back in the day. So I've always been a huge fan of this car since its inception and rally inspiration, really. Next up, and I'm not going to even dwell on this other than just a screenshot of Assetto Corsa Competizione, and there it is. Look at that rain, night, headlights. That's a beautiful shot. You know, we're at a new point in sim racing. We're going to start seeing this everywhere. Next up, iRacing. So, obviously, with their NASCAR Pro Series, it has direct involvement with NASCAR. And we talked about how they lost or no longer affiliated with Blancpain when it comes to the GT3 season. Steam, I believe the car didn't meet safety standards at the time, if I'm not mistaken. But on the NASCAR side of things, they are fully affiliated with NASCAR to the extent of, this is NASCAR.com at the news. What article? This is during the season, too. Keep that in mind. This is not them talking about sim racing in the off-season. Season's underway. But here are the iRacing Pro Series Power Rankings at NASCAR.com. And I hope you guys understand what a big deal that is. Number one, what an honor to these drivers. But number two, the fact that NASCAR, we're there, guys. We're there. We've been waiting for this day. We've been waiting for this year. Dirt, they've got their eSport qualifier. Get out there. They're at the French track at this point. You can get over there and enter. Everybody can get involved. We saw Daniel gave us his results from yesterday. Show me a screenshot of what you did in any of these eSport competitions, and I'd be proud to show it to the world and brag on your behalf. So here's one that you can go after and go have some fun. I'm challenging you guys. I'm pushing you. Get out there and compete. Compete in this new eSport world that we're in. Yesterday I thought we had a Dakar teaser, and I was wrong. They didn't. But today we actually have gameplay. It's not much, but this is some open terrain world as you'd expect in a Dakar rally type sim, because as much as it is point to point, it's much more your choice of how to get point to point, and that can be very cool. So some great looking shots from Dakar, and I'm still optimistic. Haven't played it, still optimistic that it'll be good and fun. And just checking in with you guys on the chat. Just want to stay with you today. Now here's an article that hits home, dear and close to the heart. 96.5% of YouTube creators do not make above the U.S. poverty line. And I'm going to tell you, the poverty line in the United States is $12,140. That is not enough to live on, especially here in Southern California. I can tell you that for sure. But as people think, and I think we are to the point where, you know, you use your big name people like Jake Paul, PewDiePie, sorry, and Zoella. But I think you have a lot of people who are making a living. But the good majority, 96.5%, this is at Fast Company, a similar article over at Bloomberg. Still talking about YouTube meeting a life of poverty. So before you go starting your YouTube channel, just keep in mind you're probably starting a hobby, not a career, unless you're lucky like a Jake Paul or PewDiePie. Nick, didn't you just get yourself an Oculus? Didn't you get an Oculus to have it not working right off the bat? Well, you can get a $15 store credit. There's a link to where you can do it. Now, they've since fixed that problem with Oculus, but if you were troubled by it, you might be able to get a $15 rebate. You can go check that out. I haven't done it yet, but I will after the show. I'll have all the links to all these stories at thesimpit.com. We've been talking about 49-inch monitors. A lot of times when I do a video with like a full-blown simulator, like a CXE or something, people make comments about the monitors because when you get into, 40, 50, 60-inch monitors, rarely do they have the kind of performance of a 21, 27, 30-inch monitor even. They technically are TVs, not monitors. Oh my God, Mika! Mika L, thank you so much. Hi, I'm going to eat well tonight. Thank you, buddy. I really appreciate it. But this is another. This one's from Philips. So after Samsung came out with their giant 49-inch, and I thought this was going to be the bee's knees. And then I re-looked at the specs. And unfortunately, we're still staying at only like 1080, which makes sense because that's television. But what I am looking for, I thought this was the answer to my questions because I've always felt that triple screens were too wide and too short. And I was like, oh, that'll be better perspective. But no, it's still 1080, so it's still going to be really wide and short. I decided my ultimate setup is 6 monitors, but I'm a far ways. At the poverty line, I'm a far ways away from a 6-monitor setup. This is a cool article. Talk about DIY. Here is your computer in a shoebox. So this guy built just a super mini system that literally fits into a shoebox, and kind of a clever idea. I remember way back we saw a BBS RIM, I believe it was, turned into a PC. I always liked the idea. We'd spend a fortune on cases. I love this giant white case next to me, and my ammo box case, which is actually pretty similar to this one, a little bit bigger. But you could build a computer in anything. There's no reason. One of my favorite computers I ever saw was a computer that was like open, like not even in a box. Now, obviously, it wouldn't cool very well because you can't duct air when it's open, and it's going to collect a lot of dust. But anyway, clever idea by those guys. Article here, I'm not going to talk about it, but yesterday was Monday Fun Day, which I'm going to get back to in a minute. But when stressed, play fun web games. So here's an article talking about therapeutic advantages of gaming. And I don't think they're talking about getting in iRacing and getting in a points-paying race where everything's at stake. But I think you can understand what they're talking about. I mean, maybe playing a little Candy Crush is going to help you relax when you're a little over the top. So just give it a little thought when you're stressed out. New game in the making called Zero Car. Future Motorsport takes racing to the year 2038, I believe. 2036. This is a game that is like futuristic esport, and they talk about making comparisons, and then again, don't make comparisons to like an F-Zero or a Wipeout. But this is the future of racing. Whether we want to acknowledge it or not, we get in arguments or have conversations about petrol-powered vehicles and the sounds, the smell, the action differences. But there's no denying gas-powered vehicles are at the end of their life. It's just a matter of how long are they going to live. So this will be racing. Formula E will be the future. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. We might move on to a different source of power, like very futuristic, where it isn't even an engine driving wheels, perhaps. Who knows? But here's an article. Disappointed to hear it. I still haven't played it yet, just trapped for time. But here's a review talking about what a monstrous disaster Monster Energy Supercross is. They talk about piss poor graphics. They talk about the tracks not looking very lively and things like that. So too bad for them on that. Another article, just this at Race Department. Apparently, there was a very, very small patch, 1.14, released for GT Sport. List of changes, nothing major, nothing, probably the lightest patch or update since it began. But again, another patch, more fixes. They're not even done. They're, you know, quite the pace that they're on with that. Including in our list of games getting upgrades is Wreckfest. So we think about Monday Fun Day. One of my favorites since starting Monday Fun Day was Wreckfest. And they've made a bunch of changes in a recent patch. Ooh, including a damage update. Now that could be worth checking out for sure. Next up, I think this came out last week, but I don't know if I covered it. I'm still excited about this one. Haven't got it yet, but here is John McGinnis, who's known with the Isle of Man, giving us a lap around it, full lap. So you're getting to see everything of at least the TT Isle of Man circuit. I don't know what else is included. First thing that occurs to me watching this video, is there a rider view, or are we restricted to? Oh, there it is. There it is. Just as I say it. That's what I want to see. There we go. Alright, that gives you a little idea what TT Isle of Man is going to be all about. Certainly looks more realistic on the motorcycle driving model than than Road Redemption, which I played last night. Alright, let me pause this so the audio quits. Next up, oh, and this is such a shame, and I'll tell you why in just a moment, but this is an article at Sim Racing Observer talking about the you could even call it a train wreck that was the iRacing 12 Hours of Sebring. And now the race went very good for me and for ACR Zach Speed, but a lot of teams were having connection issues. It was another one of those events where for some reason once they get into the hundreds and hundreds of people simultaneously joining, the servers all go to crap. But what it also means is that the points from that race, and that's one of the big point events for their power rankings. So this hit home for me because I am trying to move up on the power ranking leaderboard. And my points for finishing 10th in the top split are now no longer in this, and I am resting on my efforts of previous days. Here I am, 545th on the list. I think John Hill's down there. I think a few more of you are down there as well. Juan Lopez, Maximilian Wenig, and Jonas Wallmeyer are leading the way, though. But and that's also at Sim Racing Observer. Here's an article at Tech AU talking about how supercars are finally getting serious about esport. So don't be surprised if we don't see a lot more coming out of the Aussie land in true esport competition. And you think right now, the V8 supercar is in a good handful of games. So they mentioned the Forza Challenge that went on. I believe those are in P cars. I know they're in iRacing. And it could be interesting to see what they do to push the esport thing. And with racing so huge in Australia, I'm sure it'll be very successful depending on what they're talking about. Yeah, racing on bikes is difficult. It's like there is no control set that allows you to lean, and you don't steer a bike with a wheel, and yes, you have a handlebar, but you lean as much as you turn. You don't turn that wheel or your bike would flip over on you. You turn the handlebar to get around in a parking lot. Anyway, good point there on the whole bike concept. And when I went to play Road Redemption last night, which I'll talk about a little more, I went to the controller. I wanted to see if it would let me map, and I ended up playing with the controller, which I was quite happy with. And I can see playing any motorcycle sim, the controller might be the way to go anyway. Next up, so I'm only mentioning this because I always have fun with the draft and the first few races of the season. I've done the NASCAR Fantasy game probably 10 times over the 15 years it's been available. And I like doing the draft day. I'm not doing it this year, but they've given it a whole facelift, making it more user-friendly. So if you're looking for something stress-free that you could do from work, you can play NASCAR Fantasy. Instead of Fantasy Football, NASCAR Fantasy. We talked about H1Z1 just a while ago, that driving around in Humvee shooting things up. And they've gone to a free-to-play after 3 years in early access. So, don't know the exact details, and I didn't put a whole lot of effort, but I just thought I'd let you guys know about that. You can check out the article at simpit.com. Same thing here. I'm not going to talk in great detail other than Lego. Lego has gone rally. So that was our thumbnail picture of the day. I thought it was cute, but that's the car that it was inspired by. And, yeah, some cool images of the Lego rally car. It looks pretty small. It looks pretty simple. But, oh, look at that. Another car model. Yeah, look at that. Mustang rally car. Did Mustang make a rally car, you guys? Someone help me out with that one. Speed Champions. I don't think that's a rally car. Anyway, very cute, very cool. Might be fun for you, might be fun for your kids. Here at X Simulator is a cool DIY project. What started out as a traditional Rick Motec RS1 do-it-yourself plans, which I built many years ago, I'm sure many of you remember that, has evolved. So that was the original. And he stepped it up, and he gave it the long treatment, and he being Armpit is his name. But this is a fully extended out, actuator-driven RC RS1. Excuse me. And that actually takes us to about the end of the news. Let's talk. I got a lot more to talk about, though, so let's not go away just yet. So, at the beginning of the show, when I do my introduction, I say, this is the Simpit, I'm Sean Cole, welcome to today's edition of the Pit Stop, where you are the real star of today's show. And I really mean that. And I'm really trying to open up the doors or break down the walls on what I really mean by that. So, I've been talking to one of our patron team members, Dave Blair, and Dave and I have been working together for a while. Dave actually did a couple of videos while I was away of our SRS series, and did a great job with that for starting out. Dave sent me a new video, and what this is his official introduction to the pit crew. And he's letting you know how he got into sim racing, what motivates him, what he currently runs, how he does it, his equipment. Gives you pictures. Let me see if I can advance to. There's this place heat challenge he runs in. Here he is turning some laps and telling you about his life and telling you about himself. And I'm mentioning this video for two reasons. After this show, I'll turn this video live. I'll put the description in the show here. I'll put it at the Simpit. But I want you guys to go meet Dave. On top of that, this is my invitation to you guys. I want to know more about you, and I think a lot of you want to tell us about yourselves and what you do and what motivates you. And take it one step further. I'm always looking for new cast members or team members who want to help contribute, put out videos even. They could be racing, they could even be review. I'm willing to talk to anybody about that concept. But it all starts with maybe sending me a demo reel or an email letting me know what you're all about and what you want to do and what you think you could add to the team, just like Dave did. So thank you, Dave, for this introduction. In addition to this, I also have a video. So last week I wasn't at the race for SRS either. Dave did another one. I'm going to release that video as well. So thank you very much for sending that in, Dave. I encourage all of you, please, take the initiative. Do the same thing. Send me your results. I want to talk about you on the show. Send me your videos. I want to show you racing. Talk to me about it. Maybe you can be a bigger part of the Simpit. Beyond that, I want to talk about a league that I'm affiliated with. This is Lionheart Racing Series. These guys on iRacing are one of the best series, and I have stayed on top of them in terms of followed them for many, many years. And they run a very, very clean operation. If you went to the website, you would think you had stumbled upon a real-life racing series, certainly not just a sim racing series. So I am working with these guys, and it's not just putting my name on it because I believe in what they're doing. I do believe in what they're doing, and I'm proud to put my name on it. But I'm also going to be help promoting their big events. They are broadcast on GSRC, on iRacing Live, and these are some of the best guys out there. So it's going to be very entertaining racing. It's some of the best racing on Earth, and I wanted to also bring up this image here. So here's their schedule for their IndyCar series coming up. And all these races are going to be broadcast. I'm going to be bringing you the results after the race so we can follow who the champions are in their series. In addition to that, they also run an F179 series, and they'll be doing those as well. So lots of great stuff. I want to talk more and more about leagues. I want to give you more and more results as we sort of transfer into that. Who is the who's who in sim racing? It's very important. What else do I have to talk about? Yesterday was a very interesting day. So yesterday was Monday Fun Day at 6 p.m. and we took out Road Redemption for a ride. And this, if you remember Road Rash was one of the greatest violent racing games ever. I played thousands of hours of Road Rash. My friends would come over and you are very welcome, Lionheart, well deserved, and I'm proud to be working with you guys. Can't wait to see I should have played my promo, but if you guys want to see the cool promo I did for the show, you'll tune in for the first race and you'll see it there on GSRC. But getting back to Road Rash, my friends would come over and we would do round robins, split screening, playing Road Rash. Road Redemption was yesterday's title, and the reason I'm mentioning this is yesterday, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that what happened yesterday had to have been a first in sim racing history. We're playing the game, and at the end of each stage, it says, if you enjoy this game, call this phone number. Oh, I don't have it here. Well, I'm not going to give it out now anyway. Go buy the game and find the number. And so, William Buccio, he called first and told him, hey, what's going on? And then I called the guy, so he expected my call. And believe it or not, Michael Clark, thank you so much. We're eating twice today. I'm going to get fat. You rock, you guys. But anyway, one of the developers, one of 12 guys on their development team, actually picked up the phone, and we interviewed him live on the show, talking to him about the game. It wasn't a full-blown interview because it was so impromptu, but it was such a trip being able to talk. He was watching the show. He's like, are you playing it with that wheel? He didn't know you could use a wheel of this caliber in sim racing. He doesn't know sim racing at all. Anyway, it was a one-of-a-kind stream, and if you want to check it out, I'm sure it'll be entertaining. It was a fun game. I think it was a fun night of Monday Fun Day, and go check that out for sure. Next up, yesterday in the chat, Tom threw out, you ought to talk to Nim Cross. He's one of the coolest guys in sim racing. He's got a lot of opinion on sim racing. Why don't you go interview Nim Cross? So I picked up the phone. I happen to know Nim Cross rather well. And I picked up the phone. And if you don't know who Nim Cross is, he is the chief steward at iRacing. So if there is an incident, an infraction, a protest, or a problem, it goes through Nim. But if you don't know about Nim, his life in sim racing goes way beyond his days at iRacing. And he was one of the first employees at iRacing. But I'm going to talk to him about his history in sim racing. He is one of the most influential people in sim racing, and when you get to learn about him, you'll find out why. Now, here's the interesting thing. This is going to be another first. The interview is going to be Friday night at 10 p.m. Yes, you heard me right. 10 p.m. my time. That's Pacific time, 10 p.m. That means it's at 1 a.m. Eastern Coast time, which is what time Nim wants to do the interview. So this actually should work out, because I think that makes it, 9 in the morning in England, if I'm not mistaken? Maybe even 10. So Saturday morning should be perfect for the Europeans to be able to hear from Nim, and us crazies who love sim racing so much will stay up late for that one. I certainly will, because I'll be doing the interview. So I have that going on Friday as well. So we got a lot going on this week, and it is a lot of fun because we got some racing starting back up. I need to get back on track. We got our sim racing series starting up, or not starting up. We're in our 4th week already. Already submitted answers for next season, so we will be continuing on with that, and I'll have more details tomorrow when we get to racing. So I have one last minute story that came in that I forgot about, and this is an article about Google to reveal their highest resolution OLED on glass VR headsets. They're talking about 10 times the resolution of any other VR. So when you have the budget to go buy triple 1080 Tis, maybe you'll be able to run their VR. Anyway, great, though, to see VR getting pushed that whole new level, because that is one of the things you got to keep in mind or consider when talking about VR. For those who aren't fans, that's one of the things that is definitely going to change some people's minds. So that is going to do it for today. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for being part of the pit crew and talking about the news so much fun each and every day. That's going to do it. This is the Simpit. I'm Sean Cole, and I'll see you on the track.